Good evening, everyone. It's Austin. I'm so glad to be with you tonight and talking about resetting your life. It's been the theme all week. And if you are brand new, I want to welcome you in, whether you're on the podcast getting this next week, you might be on here live. I want to give you a warm welcome. And I'm going to hit you with a question. I'm going to get you working right off the top here because, yes, it's a show for you to view, but I wanted to elicit something in you. I want you to walk away better than when you came in. Doesn't that make sense? Otherwise, it's just, maybe it's entertainment, maybe it's some head knowledge, but why don't we see if we can elicit something tonight? Are you ready? All right, let me throw this question out there. We'll let this question marinate. If you were suddenly very wealthy, what would you do first? If you are suddenly very wealthy, what would you do first? If you are already wealthy, is there something that you've been postponing? Is there something you've been thinking about? Because the life resetting your life is relevant throughout our lives. Would you agree? Isn't there different times? Okay, I got some technology stuff, but we are going to work around this. Isn't there different times in life when life seems to come out of nowhere? The winds of change blow and you're not expecting it. And you're left with, what do I do now? So are you in a series of life, a season of life where you are anticipating, wanting, seeking change? What would you do if you were suddenly very wealthy? What would you do? And while we're doing that, I got a raw video here that I've been working on getting uploaded, but we will. I got a legacy thing to share with you tonight. So if you're just joining and you've been here every week, I want to welcome you in. And again, I set the intention. I want you to walk away with something here tonight. Do you need a life reset? Have you been thinking about it? Have you been postponing a decision? Have you allowed something to linger longer, perhaps too long? And maybe you thought it was doing you a service. It was serving yourself or someone else, but it's been lingering way too long. And you've realized maybe it's not stable anymore. And you've just been postponing and postponing and postponing. And you realize, like, it is time. I want to reach you. I want you to contemplate the idea of a new decision in your life. I just wrote a poem called One Decision. And I don't know if I'll be sharing that. Actually, I will share that tonight. I'll somehow figure. And what does that mean? The legacy is where people who have lived a full life, we can be so lost in the information that's constantly coming down the pipeline. And it's not always information that leads to the transformation that you're seeking. A lot of times it's the experience of, and sometimes it's experience of someone else who maybe is just a little further down the road. Maybe they have a perspective to lend. Maybe you don't do exactly what they say, but there's a perspective to lend that you can say, wow, they did it that way, but that really elicited something in me. And that's really the show here is not so much to do everything that I'm sharing. However, if you walk away, if I say something and you're like, I don't agree with that, but it elicits something else and you make a different decision, that is a positive. That's a win. That's a new distinction, a new thing. So what would you do if you were suddenly very wealthy? What would you do first? I'm going to give you an opportunity to check in with that question and also type in, if you're live, where you're listening from. If you don't want to put the exact town, put the state, or maybe if it's a big city, put the city in. And I have another thing I want to share with you. I've been studying Walt Whitman, And I've been doing a deep dive into the story of Walt Whitman, and I have a lot to share on that. But as of yesterday, let me just pause here for a moment. Okay, good. I'm going to get this queued up for you. I did a show yesterday at the location where Walt Whitman had his life reset. It was Power of Pure Presence. I want to encourage you to go watch that because it's really an incredibly touching story about how Walt Whitman reset his life. A lot of people don't know, but he's known as America's great poet. His book, Leaves of Grass, has been called the second Declaration of Independence. Yes, that's how significant it is. But he had a paralytic stroke and he thought his life was over. He struggled. He battled with depression, loss. And there was the paradox, polarity at play, like I write about in the book Flashpoint. If you didn't get the book yet, make sure you get the book. From Northwest Florida, welcome, welcome. I can't see your name, but I want to welcome you in. If you want to type your name in, feel free. If you don't, that's okay too. Again, I want this to be about your life reset. And if you know somebody who is seeking a change, and I would say it's this, the way I describe it, sometimes it's this oppression or depression. It can be very heavy, but a lot of times it's this low level discontent that we live with every day. We get up, we're unfulfilled. We try to get through the day. We try to meet our obligations. We go to bed, we're not fulfilled. It's like this life that we want seems to be just out of our reach every time. And what I want to do is I want you to bring it into your life. And I want you to know that if you're midlife, because that's really my target audience, is midlife people. And I'm going to share this with you. I just dug this up today. I really love this. This is a book that I picked up from the library, Walt Whitman's Camden Conversations. And this one was done by Walter Teller. I want to say this was back from 1971 was the last copyright on this. 1973, last copyright. Anyway, the story about this book, and this is just pure gold because this gentleman, let's see if I can pull up his name, happened to, Horace Trebell. Walt Whitman later in his life, Trebell met with him. It's kind of like, what's that book, Tuesday with Morrie? Some of you may have known that book. Well, this gentleman extracted 5,000 pages of interactions that he scribed with Walt Whitman. Now, there's different variations of authors who have tried to curate the best information, but I just happened to randomly go through here and I was looking at a random reading and I just want to share this with you, especially if you're midlife. If you're a midlife person, I think this is going to resonate with you. It's from August 22nd, 1888. So this is from August 22nd, 1888. If you're just joining, let me know where you're from. Hello, Michelle. Welcome in. If you want to type your name in, feel free to answer the question. If you were suddenly very wealthy, what would you do first? I want you to dance with this idea. Now let's get to this. It says, this is from August 22nd, 1888. Walt Whitman. It is singular how soon some natures come to a head, and how long it takes others to ripen. Though I believe, as a rule, the slow fruit is the best. Now, it's interesting. The next writing is January 1st, 1889, which is a great continuation. So you got to remember these conversations. You know, a conversation can meander, and you might end a conversation and you pick it up later. Maybe you were in a conversation with a friend, you forgot to share something, and then maybe 2 weeks later it pops back up again. So this was dated January 1st, 1889, but the continuation of that thought, it's mainly the slow maturers who mature to stay, mature to grow. So if you've been on the long road, if you feel like me, I've taken the long road, but I'm still going to end up on time, that could be the exact road you're meant to go down. But maybe you've been measuring yourself against everybody else who seems to have all the answers. Listen, your life reset is yours and yours alone. Are you embracing it? Are you coasting? Are you just kicking the can down the road saying, someday I'm going to make that decision? Someday, when the money's right, when the situation's right. As long as I've been doing this, it's never a perfect situation. Either you're going to make a change or life is going to create something in which you have no choice but to change. Where are you? What's most important? What if you could actualize a life that you wake up every day and you feel fulfilled? What if? I'm here to tell you that's possible. I'm here to tell you that you can do it. I'm here to tell you, say, I can do it. Say, it's possible. Get your journal out. And it's okay if you're the slow maturer, because sometimes it's the slow maturers that create the best fruit. So that's a great thing there. So, and I would love to get an answer on this question. And if you know somebody who's going through a reset, please share. Please share. I'm going to be sharing a pre-recorded piece with you in a moment. This is a friend of mine, and I'm going to be adding this legacy component. But first, let's hear from one of our incredible sponsors, Mr. Marlon Mueller. We coined him the farm boy who became a multi-millionaire, and he has such a level of wisdom. He's been studying wealth principles for 35 years. He's a husband, he's a father, he's somebody who cares, and he's accessible. So he sponsors the show, and I just want to share that graphic with you. There's a QR code. You can grab a hold of it. If you know Marlon, connect with him. If you don't know Marlon, here's his information. Okay, I'm back. And I just want to invite you, if you're getting this again for the first time, I have a YouTube channel. It's Austin J. Haines, Haines. This is streaming there now. You might be getting this on YouTube. You might be getting it on Facebook. If you're on Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, E360 TV, I want to welcome you to connect. I find that these shows, if you listen, they will help you. But when you step into our world, you will magnify that by 1,000 in some cases. So tonight, I'm going to share a legacy interview, and then I'm going to share with you all the exciting opportunities that we have for you to push that reset button. So let's transition over to the pre-recorded content. I know you're going to enjoy this. Let's take a listen to my good friend, Yossi. Here we go. Welcome, everyone. This is Austin in the back of the Cherry Hill, New Jersey Library, and I'm with my good friend Yossi. And we're going to get some wisdom out of Yossi today. He's also known as the Napper. He's got an Instagram account called YossiLife_Naplog. Is that right? You're known as the Napper, so we'll share some of that.
Take a summer nap quickly.
Yes, which is, I think some people would love to be able to take a nap as quickly as you. But let's get a little bit about your story. I know you call yourself like a poor chess player.
Yes.
I consider him a chess expert.
Right.
So you got chess and life, but why don't you share a little bit about your background?
So the name is an Israeli name. It's short. It's like Joseph Joe, Yosef Yossi. We don't have J in Israel in the language. I came here, I'm like 75, 74. I came here 60 some years ago. And my parents settled in the Washington, D.C. area. And then I finished University of Maryland in 72. Met my wife Renee in 75, got married in 76. Came from a business family, automobiles, I know automobiles well. But my passion always in life was chess. Even though, and I'll show it to you so you understand what chess is all about. I always say, if the hand is all of chess, I'm in this fingernail. So you know where I'm coming from. I'm honest about it. I play the game well, but certainly not on a genius level. And there's actually a silver lining to that, because if you start going genius level, you can lose your mind. Chess can be as addictive as alcohol, as what do you call it, as crack, as cocaine.
Wow.
Some people I know need daily chess games. If they don't get it, their mind starts scrambling loose.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how addictive it is, because it builds a lot of dopamine, and I forgot the other.
Epinephrine?
Epinephrine, right?
Yep.
A lot of that.
And it's interesting is that, just to give it more context, I met Yossi in the car business.
Yep.
Over 25
years ago.
25 years ago.
Century, right.
And I kept running into him.
Right.
It's like he kept coming back into my life, and there was this, and we have an agreement. He's going to teach me the game of chess, because I'm one of the few people that don't know how to play.
Man, and I'm going to upgrade him to a better set.
Yeah, so I'm going to be learning chess here. Maybe we'll get some of that video. But more importantly, you're an interesting guy. You're a husband. You're a father. You're a grandfather.
Correct.
A lover of life.
Right. Actually intoxicated in life.
Intoxicated in life.
Right.
And we always enjoy the philosophical conversations.
Absolutely.
And that
love,
you share.
Both of us love words.
Words. Yes.
Word seekers.
Word seekers. But I would love for you to share, why are you intoxicated with life? Because there's people out there that are not, Yossi. They're struggling with life. And why are you?
I tell you why. When I was younger, I did enter states of depression. I never really sought, professional help. I always felt that depression, with some people, not everybody, can be overcome if you find the keys, whether it's in the street, hanging from a tree, under the water, and I found the keys to absolve myself from depression and take, I guess, the sunny side of life. And I think the reality is, and it's a Freudian reality, you make peace with yourself when you realize that you will die. Most anxiety, almost all anxiety, comes from the fact that you do not make peace with yourself that you will die. And not only that, you accept the fact that when you die, you're dead. There's a lot of stories circulating around in a lot of cultures, especially religious cultures, that you will meet the Maker, that you will have a second life. You can see some of the, unfortunately, the Arab martyrs go and meet 7 virgins if they die as a martyr, etc. I don't believe that. I believe that our, if you want to call it a mission, is to be relatively stable and happy in life, regardless of what your religiosity is, regardless of what your sexuality is. You want to be happy in life. And to find the key of life is to become intoxicated in life. That even the gray area that Austin and I are looking at has some sort of beauty into it. Well, some people say, oh my God, that area is like crap here. It's not. There's some weeds here. There's pollen there. There's stuff that nature throws at you. 2 things that I told Austin I live by. There are 2 songs that resonate in my head, at least for now. Number 1, the Bee Gees, Staying Alive, because I'm at 74. And the second song is, and because I'm caring for my wife, who had her own issues, is, I beg your pardon, I didn't promise you a rose garden. Take it from there, Austin.
Well, I appreciate that insight. And there's something about the ability to return to simplicity and to make peace with it's. I mean, I say that death is what gives life more texture and meaning.
Well, it reminds you why you're walking on earth, or I mean, if some people say it's the purpose, to me is, I've lived 74 years to this point, and mind you, I want to say something. I never spent a day in a hospital except at the age of 6. I had my polyps taken out. I was very fortunate in life not to be in a hospital for one reason or another.
Wow.
Just the way it unfolded, As a child, I was a sickly child. I would get colds. I would not react well to childhood diseases, because my mother used to tell me. But you know what they say? If it's not going to kill you, it's going to make you stronger. And I do believe in that. That if the poisons of life go through you and they don't kill you, you do come out stronger. Most of all, you need to come out empathetic to others. In other words, without being naive or sucker, as they say, you need to feel for others. And again, doing for 20 years, which I did child protective services.
I was just going to ask you that. You were in social services.
Social services, child protective services.
Wow.
And my main stay for 20 years was to make sure a child that was under the care of the state or in the supervision of the state remained safe until such time as a permanent solution was found for that child.
Wow.
Which was not easy.
I'm sure you have some stories there
Right.
as well.
Well, the story of stories is that when you start that career, a lot of people get what they call the complex Jesus, which is taking the pain of others upon yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take so much pain that you become painful, you have to leave the profession.
Now, is that what happened to you?
No, I just overcame it.
You found out a way to be able to serve and then detach somehow.
You had to. You became clinical. You're right.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. You almost grow a lizard skin.
Immunity to it.
You have to.
Yeah, you grow a little bit of immunity.
If not, it kills you.
But you show up when you need to.
You
right,
just
to
show
keep the
up.
child safe.
You say, look, I didn't create this. As a matter of fact, if I told you that, Austin, when I left on the last day, practically, it was actually a month before the last day, they threw a small party for me and someone else who was leaving. And they said to me, yes, say a couple of words. I said, I want to tell you the following. When Julius Caesar comes, he says the following: I came, I saw, I conquered. I said to them, this is what I say. I came, I saw, I did the best I could. That's it. That's the deal.
That's a great philosophy. Yeah, that's great.
Right.
So I got two more questions here.
Yeah.
One is, if somebody is going through a life reset right now, say they're midlife,
Crisis.
or not even a crisis,
Okay,
right? We're
whatever.
talking about midlife oasis, right?
Right,
So
yeah,
to
of
turn
course,
that-
of course.
To turn that crisis,
I have to apologize to you because you're right about that. The sun keeps shining. Go ahead.
right? But it's a good contrast, because we think of it as a crisis, where I want to say you're entering the most important phase of your life. You're creating your legacy. What would you say to somebody who reaches midlife and maybe they're either going into a season of depression, or they have been depressed and they want to grab onto something? What would you say to them?
You have to look inwardly.
Inward.
You have to look. I because we discussed so many things over the years.
Yes,
I
that's true.
read all of Freud from cover to cover, and he whether you believe it or not, he basically explained the complexity of being a human being. It's the parent-child
Yes.
relationship.
Yes.
It's a relationship with yourself. It's a relationship with your beliefs. It's a relationship with others, and most and foremost, it's a relationship who you are at certain points, junctions in life. And the only thing you can do is continue enter the recess of your mind and continue to search. You don't give up. And you have to carry an imaginary flashlight because it does get dark. You gotta.
Wow, that's a great analogy. An imaginary flashlight.
You gotta throw that when the recesses of your mind are dark. You gotta turn on that flashlight. And as little as that flashlight is really shining,
It makes a huge difference.
It makes a huge difference because your quest is to find the sun again. And let me tell you something. I saw the dark clouds of life. I was in the chills of life. I thought, but I never contemplated. I thought, and you know what I'm talking about, the big S.
Right.
I thought that maybe that was the way out. It's not the way out. And for me anyway. For me...
So basically, I'm hearing you say you stayed with it, and you found a way to, whatever, metaphorically, to flip the light on. Finding the keys, flipping the light on,
right.
and that through that illumination, now you're...
Well, I'll give you mind over matter. Right before, no, after I met you, a friend of mine opened a small automobile business in Berlin. I might have told you that story. It was in the worst of time. It was when Bill Clinton was beating Bush 1 for the presidency, and Bill Clinton's PR people invented the following line: "Stupid, it's the economy." APR, we know as annual percentage rate, was close to 20%. Who bought anything at 20% on a dollar? You just didn't do it if you didn't have cash. And cash.
Right.
Yet my friend and I went into business. 6 months to date, I had to give up the business because nobody was buying cars. And we were buying at Mannheim and so on in the best auction houses. So I said to my friend, I said, you know what? Buy me out fairly. And he was fair. He bought me out fairly, gave me a car and said, good luck to you. I'll take over. He closed 6 months later. He closed the place, but he held on for another 6. The day I had to close the business, I was embittered because it was a loss. I knew I wasn't going to go down financially. I had good, anchors. But I would have to find new routes to make a living with 2 kids and a wife who had just finished years of cancer treatment.
Wow.
But here's the big but. I was smoking Winston cigarettes then.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, 5, 6, 7 a day. I wasn't a real smoker. And I looked at Route 73, which you know where that is, and I said, wow, if I walked across Route 73 and a truck hit me, my wife and kids would be set for life. They would get money one way or the other, whether it's a suit or life insurance, etc., and life would go on. And then I turned around and I said, no, man, you're going home tonight. You're going home tonight.
I got chills. Wow.
So I was taking my, my last drags in a cigarette, and I felt it. It was singeing my lungs. It was actually burning my lungs. I was like maybe early 40s, mid 40s. And I said to myself, if you don't quit this thing now, you're dead. And anyway, the money that you're sending to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, should really stay in a house. I took the Winstons, the pack, I crimped it in my hand, threw in a trash can, never ever picked up a cigarette again. Never fell off the wagon.
Good for
you. Because my family and myself were more important than the pleasure of the nicotine and the smoke, etc. I was getting out of it. That's it. No buts or ifs.
Yeah, wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's really incredible story.
And if you have a crutch like that of some sort, and you can somehow overcome it by real reason or imaginary reason, then you did it over the hump. You're going down into the valley then.
Well, I applaud you, and I know you got another season you're entering in. But as we close, maybe we'll have you back on. But what kind of world do you want your grandkids to enter? What do you?
That is the question that I wrestle with daily today.
Right.
Don't forget, I have one grandchild that's on this earth already 2.5 years, and there's a new one on the way in August.
Yeah.
Austin, to be honest, I don't know. I mean, there are today wars. There's tremendous pollution. There is tremendous competition. There's just a lot of factors that are very scary. I don't say I have the solution to them, because I really don't. I don't know if the politicians have the solution to them. But nature always finds a way to balance things. But to balance it, there might be some terrible things happening before it gets balanced.
Yeah,
I do know that whether it's the U.S. or Russia or China, the big players are looking to colonize outside this earth. So someone is telling him, maybe this thing is what, on a short leash, or on, what's the right word, I can't find it now, on borrowed time maybe. If I can just leave my grandchildren a legacy of mine, which is basically follow your mind and heart in life, which is a cliche, but that's what you have to do.
No, but it's
Find your niche. You don't know what it's going to bring.
It's a cliche for a reason, because it's hard to do.
It's
to
a
this
tough,
day.
it's a tough nut to crack.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job with
Well,
setting an example for them. And, I think that's the one thing as parents, grandparents, we can take away is that whatever we can pour into our family is valuable and helps to prepare them for whatever the world's going to do.
Because in the end, it's in the end, it's really human work and play, and that's what it is. It's human work and play, and you don't know how short life is when you're 40, and all of a sudden, like me, next year I'll be 75. Where did 35 years go? They came and went. I was working, man. That's where they were. I was working. I was seeing to it that my kids had a roof over their head, a meal, and later to see to it that they get an education so they can continue.
Yeah. And you know what? What's coming to me is that a lot of times we are leaving a legacy. We're just not aware of it.
We're not aware of it.
You are leaving a legacy.
Well, I'll tell you something. The work that you're doing is going to have some sort of meaning to this world. Maybe to X amount of people, or maybe to the rest of the world. Because I told you, and I meant it seriously, when I hear you string words in your poetry, you are I call you not a learner, but a natural poet.
Wow.
Words come to you well, and you know how to string them.
Wow.
And not only that, you string them pointedly. You go with a target to somewhere. Always looking for that sunshine, which is a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Even knowing there will be dark days, clouds, storms.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you have to get going. Let me leave you this. This is my philosophy that I always told myself to remember. Assume nothing. Expect anything and everything coming your way, including human storms such as wars and natural storms such as tornadoes, hurricanes, pestilence, whatever nature throws at you. If you accept that that's part of life, you'll make it through.
And you come from a family that had.
Yes, my mom had survived the Holocaust, and my dad had to run away from it. And my dad, I remember, told me one thing. He says, if a man is down in a fight, never kick him in the ribs. Give him a chance to what he called to get up again. And I'm not the fighter type. I always try to, what do you call it? Bring a peace around.
Well, there's a quote that says, I'm a lover, not a fighter, but don't get any ideas, because I can be a fighter too.
You got it. Yeah.
But, and then lastly, what's the craziest place you fell asleep?
The craziest place I fell asleep. Well, usually my kids get a big laugh out of it. We'll have a family of 20 and friends. In the area I am on a beach in my little condo, which is the orange condo, I said it, and I'm out. I'm napping.
We'll have to get some
But
of those
you know
photos.
what? They're
really funny.
They're all PNs. They're all power nap. They're no more than 15 or 20 minutes.
That's me. I do the same thing.
40.
So,
if you have that, that's a great tool in your.
Oh yeah.
In your
the power
toolbox.
nap is great.
Yeah, the power nap.
So Yossi Life _naplog. I think it's NAPPLOG.
Right.
So you got to check that out. That's really funny.
Check it
Yossi,
out.
thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I knew this would
Austin.
be great. Thank you for sharing. your insight.
Listen, I want to help you as much as I can. I told you when I first met you again 5-6 years ago, inadvertently, and we started to talk. I said, I'm going to do everything in my life to help you out in what you do.
And you
in
do.
Your endeavors.
You
and
are.
I tried.
I appreciate it. Yeah, you've been a great sounding board.
Listen, I gave you the chessboard. I said it's on you. I gave you the chessboard and the pieces.
Yes, I
And I
have.
said to you, go to chess.com and get all the.
He wants me to
info.
get the basics down before I come and sit down with him.
No, I'll probably wind up doing the basics with you.
That's okay too.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome back, everyone. Let me know if you enjoyed that interview. Yossi's an incredible guy, incredible stories, great philosopher, and happy to call him friend. How are you doing? Let's share something that can help you, not just words, not just information, but something that can actually fuel your life reset if you're ready. The key thing is you got to be ready, but you're never ready. Isn't that the paradox? Well, I want to be ready, but the paradox is you're never ready. But maybe we can give you some incentive here tonight. That is going to be an incredible trip. That is Costa Rica. That is my first destination retreat. And I assure you, it will be incredible. But the question is, will you be there? We literally have 10 spots. We have 15, but the 5 are accounted for. We have 10 spots. Information will get you so far. Experience. That's where things really get interesting when you immerse yourself. And if I go back to my own personal story, if I did not attend an immersion, I wouldn't be in front of you right now. It takes one decision. Not, I'll think about it, not someday, one decision. One decision may be exactly what you need. Let's listen to this right now. One decision silently waits. One decision is all it takes. One decision pulls your life in a fresh new direction. One decision overcomes the past mere reflection. One decision is now perfectly clear. One decision is no longer crippled by fear. One decision acts on the still, small voice. One decision driven by your own choice. One decision now fueled by purpose. One decision rises above the fallacious circus. One decision activates your full capacity. One decision causes others to marvel at your stark audacity. One decision and you finally realize one decision is all it took to fully be alive. That's my latest poem, One Decision. It will be in the upcoming book. And that I'm excited, very, very excited about this project. I have maybe 10 or 12 poems. I got to get a final count. That's one of them. And there'll be more video to come. And these poems, people say, where do you get these poems from? How do you write these poems? Sometimes I feel like it's just a divine download. They literally just come through, and it comes through. And really, if you're on your journey and you're feeling like lost, like you're not sure what's next, that's the reason why I do this show. It's for you. It's for you to, even if you don't have all the answers, just to start to open up, a little opening for growth. Will you let growth in? Will you entertain what that could look like? What does it look like for you? And I'll share with you a quote here that I shared earlier in the show. This is from Walt Whitman again. It's singular how soon some natures come to a head and how long it takes others to ripen. Though I believe, as a rule, the slow fruit is the best. It's mainly the slow maturers who mature to stay, mature to grow. Think about that. Is there somebody in your life that is consistent? Is there somebody in your life that shows up? Is it you? Maybe it's time to show up for yourself. Maybe, just maybe. Maybe you've been showing up for everyone else and not yourself. I want to invite you to stay connected. If you go to my website, I'm going to be adding a bunch of updates, but there's many of the options are there. You go to austinhaines.com. You will see the books. You can get a copy of the Flashpoint book, Manifesting the Moment of Your Big Breakthrough. You can, at this point, you can Google, if you Google my name, Austin J. Haines, Flashpoint, and you type in book, it should come up. We're going to work on getting an updated QR code for you. I think I have a QR code for those of you that are watching at home on the TV. I believe I have a QR code I can share. I don't see it. Okay. So just go to austinhaines.com and we'll get the QR code uploaded for you here eventually. And let me share with you another project, another opportunity for some of you. You might be able to take advantage of this. We are working on a project that we just kind of launched. Do you have a story? Do you have a story of overcoming? Are you a solopreneur? Or are you somebody that has a story that perhaps you want to turn into a business? Well, you'll be excited to learn about this particular project. Do you have an inspirational story and a message you want to get to the world? Welcome to the Underdog's Diaries.
I've always been in a situation where money was not my friend. And it's not because I didn't understand the strategy, right? Because of the 80-20. It's not so much strategy as it is mindset, right?
An exciting new campaign that will feature your story in the newest book series, The Underdog's Diary. A live virtual summit and a live in-person event in Philadelphia featuring the Rocky Steps. Listen, the world needs your story now more than ever. People are seeking answers and inspiration. That's where you come in. We are launching this project, The Underdog's Diaries first edition, this year, and we're looking for incredible underdog stories. If this sounds like you, complete the application today and get the process started. Additionally, for you solopreneurs, side hustlers, and entrepreneurs, we're going to have various options to help you grow your business. Complete the application today and let's get started.
That's the Underdog's Diaries that we will be working on this year. I'm going to put the link. If you have a story, we have 10 spots just based on the stories alone. If you are somebody who wants to be more engaged with the project, we're building a community around this. It is going to be incredibly valuable for somebody who has either told their story many times, or maybe you're getting ready to share it for the very first time and you don't want to tell it alone. Maybe you want some support. Maybe you're just ready to shout it from the rooftops or anywhere in between. So the Underdog's Diaries is in full swing. I'm going to share that link here in a moment. And I always want to invite you to connect with our sponsor, Marlon Mueller. He's got an incredible insight, 35 years in the wealth space. There's not many folks that can say that. 35 years. He's invested, educating himself, learning. He's a father. He's a multimillionaire. He's got a lot of wisdom to share. So I'll put that graphic up here again. All right, I'm back. The Underdog's Diaries. Do you have an underdog story? Are you an underdog? Are you chomping at the bit to expand, to grow, to finally plant your flag saying, I'm going to reset. I'm going to go after it. I'm going to honor everybody in my life. I'm going to love everybody in my life. I'm going to make sure they're taken care of, but I am ready to make a new decision. And I got a quote for you. This is another quote I want to share with you. We have about 11 minutes left. Feel free to type in where you're from. And I'm going to put the question up there again, the question we started with, which is, if you are suddenly very wealthy, what would you do first? It's a thought-provoking question. Okay, here's the quote. I just scribed this on Sunday. Avoid seeking external approval, which is ever changing. Rather, discover the truth in yourself, which is never changing. Its expression is infinite, while its source is singular. I'll say it one more time because even as I read it, avoid seeking external approval, which is ever changing. Rather, discover the truth in yourself, which is never changing. Its expression is infinite, while its source is singular. And it goes back to what Yossi was saying on the interview about how do you overcome the darkness? How do you begin to foster change in your life. And as much as the external draws us in, it's crafty, it's loud, it can really draw us in. We end up realizing that it's the internal journey where the true discovery lays waiting for you to tap into it. Will you tap into it? Better question is, I think a better question is, will you become aware of it? Will you pause? Will you give yourself ample reflection? What I have found with the life reset in myself and others is that we tend to go back to what we did before and we double down on it. But it's what we did before that got us to where we are. The only way out of that is to pause, get in touch with what's true in yourself, and then give birth or let the action rise up in you. And albeit that action you may not be good at, it may seem hard, it may seem messy, and the brain wants to go back to what's comfortable. But your change and your life reset happens when it's uncomfortable. And therein lies the great paradox, and therein lies the reason why many folks will stay the course, and a very few will make the change. And I'm here as an embodiment of that change to help you figure out what's real in you, what's next for you. This is not all there is. It could never be. Why? Because you're alive. You're breathing, you're paying attention, and you're feeling a certain way. And you might even have said, there's more for me. I know it. I know I felt it. I felt it deep inside, even when my mind was telling me everything else. I knew it was there. It just got real quiet sometimes. It was almost non-existent at times, but it was there, waiting to be uncovered. And that leads me to this quote, because they say it's the still small voice, right? It's the still small voice, the whisper, the whisper. We are all a poem, whispering our essence on the waves of the universe. A whisper, you say? In the dead of silence, is not that whisper a roar? Roar, my friend. You were born for this. Go do it. With 5 minutes left, I want to invite you to connect. We have Flashpoint 6.0 tentatively on the calendar, October 20th this year. There's going to be a lot of great information, connections, people. We're launching a private community based on accountability. That's coming up. And the one thing that is booked for your life reset. March 2nd to March 10th. That trip is booked. We have 10 spots. Technically, we have 15. 5 are taken. We have 10. If you are serious, if you're like no mas of what was, you want to change, this is my first destination retreat. It's going to be a combination of Power of Pure Presence and Flashpoint. I have some facilitators coming in, and we have Duchess DJ Loves, a sponsor of our Power of Pure Presence show that will be on display that weekend. I'm excited to get those 10 folks that are meant to be there. It might not be you, but it might be you. And if it is you, we need to connect because we are filling the spots now. The trip is booked March 2nd through March 10th. It will be a great opportunity to reset your life, discover your purpose, and live fully now. And I do mean live fully now. I really mean that. I want you to get that. I absolutely want you to get that. So everyone, it's 2 minutes left in the show here. We had a great show. I want to invite you to 2 things. Check out Power of Pure Presence yesterday, which I talked about Walt Whitman, his incredible reset story that not a lot of people know about. It is so moving. If you go to my YouTube channel at Austin J. Haines, let me see if I can put that up here. And also go back and watch the show tonight because we had my good friend Yossi on, dropping some really good insights about life, we got to share. Maybe I'll share his professional napper story. And we also had the poem, the One Decision poem is on there. If you go to YouTube at Austin J. Haines, you can find me. March 2nd through the 10th is the Costa Rica retreat. You need to connect with me. And then as we go out here, let me share Yossi's this is really funny. His daughters created this account for him. Check this out. He's a professional napper. Look at him. So anyway, I thought you'd get a kick out of that. But seriously, go back. He shares his story, how he went through depression. It's really powerful. So I definitely want you to go back and watch the show. Everyone, this is the Austin J. Haines Show. We will be back next week. Remember, this could be your time to push that reset button in your life, discover your purpose, and live fully now. Austin out. Have a great week.